Hi, I'm Polly Jean Harrison with the Fintech Times, and we're here at Innovate Finance Global Summit. Would you like to introduce yourself for us, please?
Of course, thank you, Polly. My name's Mike Davies, and I'm the CCO for Minna Technologies. To sum up what we do very simply, we put a button in an app for a financial institution to help their consumers manage subscriptions.
Fantastic, that's a really good explanation, actually, nice and to the point. And so how are you enjoying the event so far?
It's been fantastic. I've been part of a number of roundtables. I've seen some fantastic speakers. It's always good to hear about the themes which are surfacing in these kind of environments to help understand how your customers and others in the industry are starting to think about the things that you hear them say and they start to develop and the trends that you see. So yeah, really enjoyed it. It's been great fun.
Fantastic, and that leads quite nicely onto my very first question. What are the trends that we're seeing in fintech currently?
That was almost planned, wasn't it? What are the trends we're seeing? Well, the one that I think has come out very clearly in the conference so far, and we also see when we talk to the banks that we mainly work with, and that's financial inclusion. It's become more pressing as we've gone further through the pandemic and out of the pandemic as it stands at the moment, and also the impact of the pandemic, the way that it's hurt people financially, and the uncertainty in the world that we see at the moment is additionally causing more people to be more worried about their money. That's a challenge for the banks. The banks are looking to from all the ones we speak to, it's a universal theme. They're looking to be able to support the customers to ensure that they're able to cope with the problems that they see in this very uncertain time.
Fantastic. And then I guess, how much does consumer demand impact fintech?
I think it very much impacts fintech and the specifically the banks that you deal with. If you look at the area that we specialise in, which is subscription management, that's been a growing trend. If you look back to say 2007, going back that far, you might have only had 5 or 6 regular payments. Maybe it was your mortgage, your gym, maybe your mobile phone at the time. Where we are now, that's up to around 12 per customer, per consumer. And it's expected to grow in the next few years to around 17. When you see that kind of trend developing, becoming real and increasing in the future, that means that the organisations that work within the industry to facilitate the payment, to facilitate the delivery of whatever the goods or service might be, need to change. And so we've seen many organisations that you wouldn't think offer subscriptions now moving into it. Everything from food that we've seen during the pandemic, we've seen grocery growing and food boxes like Graze and people like that. You know, it's to razors with Dollar Shave Club. It's to even Volvo were doing things with cars, subscriptions with cars. And the latest one actually was Apple saying that you can do a hardware subscription. So people are changing the way that they buy things. And that's incumbent on the industry then to change what they need to do. And I'm not sure we've seen enough change on the financial services side yet. We've seen leading lights doing things, but we don't see the amount of support that perhaps consumers need. We've done a lot of work on insights. You'll see the work that the personal financial management companies have done. People like Emma and Plum and others have been able to help educate the consumer about their spending habits, the categories they're spending in. But it's more now a move from not just the insights to the actions, to actually supporting the consumer in the tougher times. And what we see is that consumers, everybody does it. I'm sure you've done it, Polly. You must have forgotten about a subscription and then realised it was there 6 months later and realised that you've spent £45 over the last 6 months and you really didn't need to. For people that are financially vulnerable, it's very important that insight is provided to them that they've got a problem there, but also the actions of being able to cancel, for example, that subscription. Luckily in the UK and Australia and the US and other countries coming soon, as we understand it, there are regulations that empower the consumer to ask their bank to help on the subscription, to help them cancel that subscription. And when that happens, that means that you are providing an action to the consumer, which is even more empowering their day-to-day, but also making your bank more valuable to them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess sort of kind of leading on from that, how important is collaboration key when it comes to sort of the future of finance and fintech and all that?
Well, with any change, and we're in a very changing world at the moment, you have to change to be able to make sure you're reacting to whatever the environmental conditions are that are affecting your business and your consumers. And the best way of putting it for change for me is you need to look at how you can react in the quickest and most appropriate way. You need to look for the partners that can help you accelerate that change to be able to make sure you're in the position where you are benefiting as an organisation by moving fast to be able to counter the problems. But additionally, looking for extra value you can get from those partners that help the overall proposition. So I'd give you an example on that one. We, as Minna, we work with the banks, where we put the button in the app to help people manage the consumers, manage the consumers to manage their subscription payments. We work with the card schemes like Visa and others to be able to understand how we can work within that ecosystem. We work with the regulators to understand where there's regulation that needs to be addressed by the banks that help us educate the banks on it. And then we work with the merchants, and we work with those merchants to be able to facilitate cancellations and other things, like you might want to pause a subscription or offer a retention offer when a consumer is about to cancel, so it gives the consumer a good value. All of them are outcomes that consumers benefit from us working together. We can do it faster and better, and so yeah, collaboration is key.
Fantastic, that all sounds really great. And then I guess finally, what does the future hold? If you look into your crystal ball, what do you think is coming next for the industry?
If you look again specifically at subscription management, it's that growth. It's not slowing down post-pandemic. We see every day new items of new subscription ideas. We see consumers struggling with understanding how their spending habits have changed so significantly since over the last, let's say, 5 to 10 years and accelerated that way. So I think the one thing that's constant, though, is the pace of change seems to be going up, reacting to what we're seeing, the changes in industry, the changes in the world. And so I guess the crystal ball says keep being customer obsessed. Because if you're customer obsessed, you'll see that how best to react to the changing world.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for sharing insights with us.
My pleasure. Thank you.